Fernando Pessoa, author of Mensagem, is one of the most iconic figures in Portuguese and world literature. Published in 1934, this book is the only one released in Portuguese during Pessoa's lifetime and took him 21 years to complete. The 44 poems were composed between 1913 and 1934. Although classified as a modernist work, Mensagem employs traditional structures like regular meter and rhyme, blending modern themes with classical forms. The book is a deeply nationalist work that celebrates the history of Portugal, intertwining myth and mysticism to revisit the nation's past, from its legendary origins to its maritime zenith, while also reflecting on its decline and expressing hope for a renewed future. The structure of Mensagem is divided into three main parts: Brasão, Portuguese Sea, and the hidden one. The first part, Brasão, coat of arms, draws inspiration from Portugal's national emblem to explore the country's founding myths and historical figures. In this section, Pessoa pays homage to legendary characters like Ulysses, who supposedly founded Lisbon, Viriathus, and kings such as Henry of Burgundy and Afonso I, celebrating the bravery and nobility of Portugal's founders. The poems are structured around the elements of the Portuguese coat of arms, with the outer fields dedicated to the 7 castles and the central shield focused on the 5 quinas, escutcheons, symbolizing Portugal's maritime expansion and military might. This section culminates in references to Nuno Álvares Pereira, a national hero, and closes with poems reflecting on Portugal's medieval chivalry. The second section, Portuguese Sea, focuses on the era of maritime discoveries, Portugal's golden age of exploration. Through 12 poems, Pessoa retraces the chronology of the voyages that expanded Portugal's influence across the globe. The poems celebrate the spirit of adventure, with a focus on figures like Vasco da Gama, who symbolizes the peak of Portuguese exploration. The most famous poem, Portuguese Sea, reflects the pride and sacrifice of the sailors who braved the unknown. Yet, the glory is tempered by the poem The Last Ship, which alludes to the downfall following King Sebastian's ill-fated expedition in North Africa, symbolizing the empire's decline. The section ends with a prayer in Preece, where the lyrical voice asks God for a new era of Portuguese greatness. The final part, the hidden one, delves into the mystical themes of Sebastianism and the Fifth Empire, exploring the prophetic hope for Portugal's rebirth. This section is divided into 3 subsections: the symbols, the warnings, and the times. The poems here are rich with symbolism, focusing on the legend of King Sebastian, who, according to myth, will one day return to restore Portugal's former glory. The warnings introduces figures like the prophet Bandara, the Jesuit priest Antonio Vieira, and even Pessoa himself as the visionary voices of the Fifth Empire, a utopian era where Portugal will lead through cultural and spiritual influence rather than military conquest. In the times, Pessoa blends mysticism with hope for a new dawn, using his own birth year, 1888, as a symbolic date for the rebirth of the nation. Mensagem is a profoundly patriotic and visionary work that reflects the political and social context of the interwar period in Europe. At a time when nationalism was on the rise, Pessoa's poetry offers a unique vision for Portugal's role in the world, not through military power but through cultural and spiritual leadership. The book captures a sense of longing for past glories while planting seeds of hope for a future resurgence of the Portuguese spirit. To conclude, here are the 5 main features of the book Mensagem by Fernando Pessoa. Exaltation of Portuguese nationalism. The work is a poetic tribute to Portugal's history and identity, celebrating the heroic deeds of historical figures and the glory of the maritime discoveries, while expressing hope for a renewed greatness. Mysticism and Sebastianism. The final part, the hidden one, explores the myth of King Sebastian's return and the vision of the Fifth Empire, where Portugal will rise again, not through conquest, but through cultural and spiritual influence. Symbolic structure, divided into 3 sections: Brasão, Portuguese Sea, the hidden one. The book uses rich symbolism to narrate Portugal's history. The coat of arms, mythic heroes, and maritime legends serve as metaphors for the nation's journey. Modernist poetry with classical form. Despite being a modernist work, Mensagem employs traditional forms, such as rhyme and meter, blending modern themes with timeless poetic structures that emphasize the work's universality. Historical context and national revival. Written during a time of increasing nationalism in Europe, Pessoa's vision was to inspire a revival of Portuguese pride and identity, suggesting that the country's future lay in spiritual and cultural achievements. This was our summary of the book Message by Fernando Pessoa. We hope it was helpful.